I'm here because I am a roaring lion crying out, righteousness. It is official. I am seeking the office of mayor of New York City in the 2025 election, unless there's a special election held because of the criminal activities, the fraud and corruption that's been found by the present mayor, Eric Adams. And the city government has collapsed to such a state that an emergency election must take place, and I'll participate in that election as well. But let me tell you what one of my main policies will be. As the mayor of the city of New York, I will push for legislation to get through, and it will pass, that all workers in New York City earn a minimum wage of $27 per hour, bar none. That no one working in New York City, working by day and being paid by the hour, would earn less than $27 per hour for their work and for their services. I would also push for legislation and get passed legislation here in the city of New York that all food services and all food purchases, that there would be no tax on any food, services, groceries, restaurants, or purchases or acquisitions of food by suppliers of food, by restaurants that buy in bulk, by purveyors of meats and foods. That tax on food in New York City would be completely eliminated. Now, let me just share something with you. I was raised in the backwoods of rural North Carolina, where, when I lived in the farm area, had plenty of food. We could dig potatoes, both sweet potatoes and Irish potatoes or Irish potatoes, right out of the ground. Tomatoes, okras, cucumbers, beans, corn, all of that was available. And come a certain part of the year, about October or so, we'd have hog killing time. We'd kill some of the hogs, and there'd be plenty of meat, smokehouse meat and hams, salted and hung up, and we'd eat that over the year. But we moved out of that particular area as my stepfather, Willie Patterson, a great man, got weaker and sicker and unable to maintain his position as a sharecropper there in rural North Carolina. And we moved into the city area where food became extremely scarce. You had to go to the store and buy everything. You couldn't go to the fields, as was during the days when my father served as a sharecropper and I was raised as a sharecropper's son. And so my father, Willie Patterson, a great man of God, and my mother, they both did a great job of feeding us, but there were times when I was hungry. There was times when I was in prison at Rayford, correctional facility, Union Correctional Facility, the Rayford, Florida, and the food was so awful, I went days as being hungry. Food is essential. I believe you have a right to food. And though you have to pay the purveyors of it or the servers of it or the restaurateurs or people who grow it and raise the food, you should not have to pay the government also for somebody else's food. Listen to me very carefully. I think perhaps one of the worst taxes, I've never met a tax that I like, but I think one of the worst taxes that could ever be taxed is the taxation of food. The government didn't grow it. The government didn't process it. And yet the man that grows it and processes it and then brings it to somebody who wants to eat it to fill his belly has got to give a portion of that money to the government and something that's known as a tax. Well, here in New York City, when you go to McDonald's or Burger King's or Taco Bell or Kentucky Fried or any of the other restaurants, you will not pay taxes for the food. You will be able to eat and fill your belly without having to fill the coffers of politicians, their lackeys, their girlfriends, their drug dealers, etc. That's one of my policies. I have a large number of policies that I will put forward as the mayor of the city of New York. New York is going to be a great day in the morning when I become mayor of the city of New York. It'll be a new world in the morning when I become the city of New York. I'm asking that you would pray for me and that you would also vote for me, because a vote for me is a vote for yourself and is a vote for your blessings. It will be a vote for the best days and best times of your life. And isn't it about time, after having so many corrupt officials and politicians, messing over your lives and taking your money and leaving you for dead, making promises that they never keep. Well, anyone will tell you, if you asked him about James Manning, in the 40 years he has served meals, provided for the homeless and clothing for the naked, here as a pastor of a church, would just magnify that when I become the mayor of New York City. Thank you so very much for listening to me.